Hi everybody, John Sarver here, CKiW iRADIO 76, where we're back in the happiness of what they call the SEMA Garage Detroit with, don't call him the general manager, it is the Manager General Ben Kaminsky. Hiya, Ben.
Hey John, great to have you back.
Great to be back, trust me it is. A lot of stuff has happened since we've talked last, and the Shadowwoods team was here, and I'm sure that you've seen those videos. More to come on that one, trust us. But we got a lot of stuff to catch folks up on.
We do, yeah. It's been a busy fall, as it usually is around the SEMA Garage and SEMA PRI. It's my favorite time of year.
As it should. I mean, this is almost like your Super Bowl, because you got almost back-to-back, because there's the SEMA show in Vegas, which you folks are part of.
Yep.
Gee, it says so on the
for sure
title. And I don't know how many people who may not know that PRI, SEMA.
That's right. Yeah, PRI and SEMA are under the same umbrella. So, as you mentioned, this is our Super Bowl time, right? So,
yeah.
You know, the team's all polished up. We've had our practices, and you know, we went live in SEMA basically on Halloween, right, to get ready for the SEMA show. So, Vegas on Halloween is quite an interesting. If you haven't ever experienced that, it's quite interesting. But the SEMA show kicked off this year. It was it was an awesome event. So we had actually our own booth at this year's SEMA show. So it was basically our SEMA Garage Services booth. We had,
really?
Yeah, so we actually had our ADAS Technology Center. They were doing live ADAS calibrations at the SEMA show.
How did you bring that whole, it couldn't be that whole unit you brought?
Actually, so some of our great partners like Hunter and Snap-on and others actually brought those pieces of equipment to the SEMA show in Las Vegas.
Thanks, folks.
Brought them to our booth, right?
Yeah.
And then they actually did calibrations there live for potential customers and SEMA members to see how that goes and see how the calibrations work and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was neat. It was really cool event and really well attended by the members.
Now, also, wasn't this the first year that it's now open to the public?
So we did have Friday. That's true. We did have the public could come in on Friday and come to the SEMA show, which was pretty cool. And then we also had SEMA Fest afterwards, which is also a first. So that was a music festival and car festival and all things automotive. You know, I took my entire family. We had fun at the Hoonigan booth and the Formula Drift booth, and we saw some concerts and watched Imagine Dragons and
I was
Incubus.
going to say, who's playing?
Yeah, so Imagine Dragons were and Incubus were kind of the headliners with all sorts of AJR and sure, why not? Why not?
Where's Dora?
Yeah, so my son and I mostly hung around the Hoonigan and Formula Drift stuff, but they also had the Nitro Circus, which was cool. You know, what those guys can do on dirt bikes is amazing.
I was going to say, you probably want to tell folks it's not like a Top Fueler Nitro Circus. It does, these guys do acrobatic kind of stuff.
They do.
Daredevil-y kind of stuff indoors.
Yeah, and there was a guy that was actually jumping a wheelchair on a BMX ramp, which was like, yeah, so all sorts of fun stuff in Vegas this year, John.
But somebody's got to hire this guy. Someone's got to go, you know what, we saw this dude on a wheelchair, and he jumped this ramp, we got to have him.
Yeah,
dude.
That was probably the biggest crowd and the biggest cheer that we heard all night for the Nitro Circus was the guy in the wheelchair
How
jumping.
high did he jump a wheelchair?
It was, I don't know, 30 feet.
30 feet?
Oh, it was asinine. I mean, it was crazy. The guy, yeah. But it was a ton of fun, and it was really interesting to see. So.
Wow. So now there's going to be somebody that went home and go, you know what, we can do that. We can do that easy, you know, and so somebody's really trying. Talking about trying, what did they see in Vegas?
Oh, man, there was, I mean, just to narrow it down to a list, but so over 2,200 exhibitors were at the SEMA show. We took up all 4 halls of the SEMA Exhibition Center, or sorry, the Las Vegas Convention Center in Las Vegas. So that's, if you're keeping track at home, that's North Hall, South Hall, Central Hall, and West Hall, all of them filled with exhibitors. So that's, with inside and outside, I think it was approaching 1.5 million square feet of exhibit space.
For those who don't know, is that about as big as PRI? Double PRI, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a bit larger than PRI, actually.
So now they're going to be moving PRI to Vegas and Detroit next year. Just kidding.
From your lips to our CEO's ears.
Yeah, there's millions of space around here.
That's right. So we had over 150,000 attendees that came to the SEMA show this year. Yeah. So,
and that's with public, but only one day.
Yeah, that's right.
Holy jump. How many people normally go to those things? I mean, attendance figures, I mean, that was up this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, so this is essentially the largest, if not the largest SEMA show we've ever had. So 2019, prior to the pandemic, was our last biggest year.
Yeah.
And we think we matched and maybe even potentially exceeded that this year at the show. So SEMA show's back in a big way.
And then when you guys said, look, it's because we've had, COVID rocking around and stuff like that. When this all gets the all clear, we're going to try to have concerts. We're going to try to have all this. I mean, that was obviously well planned.
Yeah. I mean, we have some just outstanding people at our show department. Tom Gattuso's the head of our show department, second to none. The amount of awards that we get every year for the SEMA show, industry-wide, are, just phenomenal. He does a phenomenal job with the show, pulling it all together, he and his team, and they did not disappoint this year.
And so what do you do? Get to go up to him and go, good job, dude. Here's an extra 5 for you. This looked like it was tough to do.
Yeah. By the end of the week, he is one tired puppy.
Yeah, but, I was going to say.
But yeah, but he's got a smile on his face because it was an awesome event.
Wow. Back with Ben Kaminsky, Manager General, don't say General Manager of SEMA Garage Detroit. We were just getting into all the stuff that was coming on. Brother. All right. Tell us. I mean, I see nothing but words and words and words and highlighted words and words and words. Let's get to this, because this looks like it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, so, there's always so much fun at the SEMA show, but one of my favorite parts of the SEMA show is always the new product showcase. To me, this is where the innovation comes in, and this is where the stuff that sometimes we worked on at the SEMA Garage Detroit or the SEMA Garage in Diamond Bar to actually help those members develop the products to bring to the SEMA show. So you see some of those parts that I've worked on, that we've worked on here for emissions compliance testing or other things, actually come to life, and they actually get put in front of the public and say, hey, this is now on sale, this is for you to buy now. So things that we've actually touched and felt and helped develop in some way or another are actually coming to life now at the new product showcase. So there's thousands of products in there, but it's fascinating to walk and see what all is in there, and what all new products are coming, and what got awarded, and I think that's one of the highlights of the show.
Do you feel like a teacher? Like, that's my kid. That's my kid. I had this kid in 4th grade, and now look at him. He's a CEO GM.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's some pride in that, right? That we got to touch it and help develop, and there's definitely a sense of pride in there, and a sense of excitement that we get to do that stuff. And it's really interesting, some of the technology that's brought in there to showcase. So
what, name 2 that you saw.
Oh, wow. There were some, so there was a new ADAS system that was there from Hunter Engineering that I thought was really cool. So they've implemented some new technologies with the way they do the ADAS calibrations as far as the rolling compensation on a floor, and also mapping out a floor that might not be perfectly flat and level like we have here in the SEMA Garage Detroit.
Wow.
We have perfectly flat and level floors, but they figured out a way to laser measure and actually and compensate for that in the ADAS calibrations. And they actually won one of the awards. That was really cool. And then, I don't know, I've always had a thing for turbochargers, John. And there are more turbochargers than you can shake a stick at out there, that come out every year. And I don't know, I find that fascinating, the different turbine wheel designs and housing ratios and stuff like that come out. So, I don't know. I don't know that I can pick one, but it's just
And somebody actually came up to you and said, look, we developed this one with your help.
In some cases, yeah. So I guess I'll say specifically what our part in that was, is they said, we're coming out with this turbo for this specific application.
Right.
Can you help us be emissions compliant with this product?
Aha.
So what we've done is we've gone in and we've actually helped them test that turbocharger on the vehicle package that they had, and then we actually helped them walk through the process to bring them to emissions compliance. Whether it was, some of them are SEMA certified, meaning you can sell them in 49 states outside of California, or you can actually sell it with a CARB executive order that we also help them get, and you can sell it in all 50 states without restriction.
And that was something that we've discussed many, many times here.
That's right. Was not a Bob's header part.
Yeah, from Bob's rocket.
Yeah.
You know, he's waiting this year. 2024 is going to be the Bob year.
Bob is an innovator. Yeah, so.
He's thinking of new things.
Yeah.
He's thinking about a turbo header. You know, and so, anyways, what we're talking about really quickly for all the videos that Ben and I have done is we use Bob's header as our generic kind of company for folks that what SEMA can do, so you can understand it pretty easy, because it sometimes you might think it gets a little M equals MC squared kind of thing, and it's not. If you have a part, if you're a member of SEMA, you know, SEMA can help you ram through all that red tape and all the gobbledygook that you would go, I would like to make a part. I'm good at doing the part business. I'm not great. All those paperwork things scare me.
Yeah, so one particular thing, so we had this in our SEMA Garage booth that was a company called Hellion, and they actually have developed a twin turbo kit for a 5-liter Mustang. And where we kind of worked on them with it was they did the fabrication work and an amazing job of fitting the turbos down low. In fact, if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't even know the car is turbocharged.
Oh, really?
So it is a complete sleeper, so just be careful out there, you know. So, but they put the turbos down low, and we actually kind of helped coach them on the emissions portion of it, what we needed to see, what we typically, best practices to make sure that the catalytic converters are in the right spot for this package, to make sure they light off quickly, to make sure they can get emissions compliance. And so kind of coaching them through the process, and then them doing their own incredible development work and fabrication, they came up with a really unique design for this turbocharger setup that actually kind of has a manifold collector that comes out of the turbos that it collects in, and then goes up to the engine, but it actually utilizes the stock air box, which is always a consideration, because then you can retain what's called, and you're going to love this, the hydrocarbon absorber.
Yes.
In the intake manifold.
I have all their albums. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's right. They were huge in the 80s. So,
yes.
Yeah, hydrocarbon absorber.
Yeah,
all the
really.
concerts, you got the T-shirt.
There's only the lead guitar player.
Right.
Great.
That's right. So Hellion. So we worked with Hellion on this, and we had the car in the booth, and it's emissions compliant, right? So you can drive it, you can buy it and drive it anywhere. I mean, it's great. And it was a fun project to work on. Our Diamond Bar facility actually worked with them on the development of that, and it took some time and it took some thought. But when we worked back and forth, we were able to get them there. So that was a cool part.
How long did it take them?
Oh boy, start to finish.
No, I mean, by the time you guys got, well, I guess you've been enlisted with your help.
Yeah, that's a good question. If I had to guess, I'd say it was around 6 to 8 months.
See, yeah, because I was saying within a year. Would that be safe to say?
For sure, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
so.
And it was an R&D process, right?
Yeah.
You do some stuff, you test it, you see how it looks, you make some tweaks, you test it, you see how it looks, and that's, they came up with a really unique design, so they did a great job.
Did they test here? I mean, did they test in SEMA, or did they test in their facility?
They did some testing in their facility for kind of the functionality of it,
right.
And then they worked with our Diamond Bar facility to actually do the emissions testing work that we did. So, as you know, the Diamond Bar facility has an emissions test lab like we do here in Detroit.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, if Hellion was in, say, Warren, could they have done the same stuff here as they did with Diamond Bar? For sure,
yeah. And we're actually finally, it's been a journey, but we're in the closing stages of actually getting on the California Air Resources Board of approved labs to go get emissions testing done.
So you can do 50 state.
That's right.
Oh, inventors, come here. All right, what else we got?
Yeah, so the other thing that we did quite a bit of participation in from the garage side was education sessions. So there are over 100 education sessions that actually happen at the SEMA show. 100? Yeah, and it's on a variety of topics, from business, how to run your business better, to business leadership, to technical topics, to all sorts of things about SEMA across the gambit. And a couple of the ones that I participated in specifically were a low volume manufacturer meeting, where we brought in NHTSA, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. So they came in and actually gave some pointers to small volume car builders on what they need to do to build chassis to be NHTSA compliant. right?
Wow.
And then we also knitted that together with the engine side of it. So obviously, if you have a chassis, you need something to go in it.
Sure.
So what sort of powertrain do you need to be compliant on the emissions side? And what are your options to be able to do that and marry the two together so that Bob's Headers customer can go out and buy a complete vehicle, right, running down the road.
Right.
So that was kind of a coaching session there. That was one of the ones that I participated in. And then we also do a lot of coaching to kind of demystify a lot of the compliance things that we do, to try to help people understand that, there are a lot of steps to emissions compliance. It's not just test it and then go.
Yeah.
It's
rubber stamp, see ya.
Right. There's paperwork, more paperwork, and then test, and then more paperwork. So to kind of demystify the process and help people understand really what they're getting into. You can go and try to do this compliance on your own, but to me that's
that chance.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of it is the magic in the sauce that SEMA Garage offers is that we have a whole, in fact, sitting 30 feet from me now is our compliance department, right? Mm-hmm. And those folks are experts and specialists in the field of helping people get through the compliance process and making sure that they get the right paperwork in place, making sure that the applications are accurate, working with CARB and the EPA to make sure that the documentation that you have is correct and that it gets through the process, and in the end that Bob's Header gets this CARB executive order or are SEMA certified so they can go and sell that product. So,
and to do that all within 6 to 8 months, give or take, whereupon which, evidently that Ben's being too modest. If you were trying to do this on your own and you were a first timing, if you didn't give up in the first year and a half or something like this, because it's fast and then it goes slow, way slow, and then you think that they forgot about you, and then you have to keep making these phone calls and stuff. If you have the power of SEMA, behind you, it's like they're on top of it, and they know not to mess around with SEMA because SEMA is, a wonderful conduit for them.
Yeah, we work a lot with CARB. We work with them on a weekly basis, and we have meetings with them to follow up on projects and things like that. So we're working to try to bring the amount of time it takes to get a CARB executive order down so that it's a faster process. But in addition to that, we're also working to make it kind of a cleaner process to try to trim the fat out of it.
Streamline it a little more.
Streamline it a little more for sure. So there's a lot of work that we do with CARB to try to impact that. But overall, if you think about the United States overall, SEMA Garage and the projects that come through the SEMA Garage account for a little over 50% of all of the CARB executive orders in the United States. So we are definitely far and away the biggest, I guess what I would say, maybe customer of CARB, if you want to say it that way, as far as getting the number of applications that we put in and the number of applications that we actually get through the process successfully.
Why would they just put somebody here, Ben?
The CARB people?
Yeah.
Well, more to come on that.
Okay, great. Stay tuned. CKiW iRADIO 76 with breaking news coming soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What else we got?
So I think looking forward, we've got PRI coming up, and I'm excited to see you there. That'll be
babies.
fun.
Oh, baby,
So,
we can't wait.
Yep. So it all starts with, to me, every year it kicks off with the opening breakfast, one of the best breakfasts of the year. So this year we have Ralph Shaheen is going to be emceeing the event, and Tony Kanaan is going to be there as our special guest. So that'll be fun. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've seen all of his movies. Wasn't he with Hydro?
Yeah.
Did he play bass for Hydro, whatever they were before?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Tony's face is engraved on the Indy 500 trophy, a couple times over.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun to hear him be interviewed by Ralph. That should be an interesting interview. So
you see, if you've never been to PRI before, PRI it's one of those mystical things that if you're a car guy, your eye rolls behind your head. PRI. If I could only go,
Yeah. Well, so being a I was born and raised in Indiana, so Indianapolis has a soft spot in my heart anyway. But
see, that's why it's there. But now that he's here in Detroit, guess what's moving, folks?
Yeah, more breaking news. You heard it here first.
Yeah. It's as soon as you can pry it out of Indianapolis's fingers,
Yeah, it's a great event, and it takes up the entire convention center in Indianapolis, which is fun.
It does.
And we get to hang out with 1,000 of our best friends, meaning more than 1,000 exhibitors of racing products, right? So this is really, so if you look at SEMA, you're like, what's the difference between SEMA and PRI? The difference being SEMA is more focused on-road products, right? The on-road modifications and performance products that the SEMA folks love to do. PRI is more focused on professional racing and grassroots racing that is truly off-road racing stuff, right? So the dirt trackers and the drag racers and the guys that go in circles and the guys that go in figure eights and the guys that...
Drag racers, you say?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and the pulling trucks and the pulling tractors, and that's the PRI crowd, and it's just a neat event. There's so much innovation that happens. There's so much stuff on display. There's all sorts of events. So this year we actually have the PRI Sports Arena, esports arena, and that's actually going to be focused on esports. So you can go and you can try out e-simulators. You can learn about e-racing series online. So when it's cold, when you got 6 feet of snow on the ground here in Detroit, John, and you want to go racing, either drag racing or road racing or whatever, there's esports that you can get involved in. So we're going to do some focus on that.
Didn't we see them last year?
There were some
after hours.
Yep.
There was that one that we saw.
For sure, the one from Italy, right?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's going to be there's actually an entire area now devoted to that at the show, because that's one of the big things that's actually up and coming is a lot of these esports sort of things.
Closer to the stadium, or where are they going to be set up? Somewhere there.
Ooh, boy, yeah.
Okay, good. Just find them. You can't miss them.
The other thing, so I know that's going to be in Lucas Oil Stadium is actually going to do e-kart racing actually at PRI.
Yeah, it's just not trailers anymore.
Yeah,
Yay!
So bring your eggshell helmet, because we might have to go run it at the karting event.
No, you know what helmet I have? I have one that looks like it was from 1968 roller derby. A little thing that just goes by there, a little chin strap. I'm dead anyways if I fall, but at least the hair looks great when I'm ripping around. Yeah. That's great, because we always thought, Lucas Oil Field, for those who don't know, at PRI, it's integrated in, Indianapolis did a nice job.
They did.
And they integrated Lucas Oil Field, which is huge.
It is.
It's where their football team plays, etc. Kind of dark, though. It needs some light in there. Anyways, all they had was, for PRI, were trailers. And you kind of thought, man, there's so much more this thing could do. But where are you going to put trailers? So, and some of those trailers are crazy. Unique, crazy trailers.
Yeah, beautifully built, beautifully functional. You could live in them, right? And some people do, I suppose, right?
Yeah, for that kind of money? Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
Wee-hoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where the party is on Friday night.
That's right.
Quote unquote party.
Yep.
No beer whatsoever, just ginger ale and dry bread. Don't say nothing. Anyways, but they're going to have kart racing.
That's right. Yep.
Like Mario Kart? How is this going to go? Someone's going to put a banana peel out?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be wearing my Mario costume. You can be Luigi.
I'll be Wario. Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. So maybe we can have a runoff there or something, John, if you like.
Indoor kart. Like what, electric karts?
Yeah, electric karts. That's right. Yep.
Oh, this is going to be a riot. And when does this begin? Thursday?
Yeah, it's going to be running throughout the show. So Thursday, December the 7th. The show runs from December 7th through the 9th in Indianapolis.
Yeah. So see what's happening now that we know we will not be broadcasting Friday or Saturday. We'll have the GoPro on my little helmet.
Yeah, and one of the other fun events outside of the karting, which maybe we'll get so injured we can't even go to, but we'll see, is the featured product showcase. So like the new product showcase at SEMA, these are kind of the new featured products for the racing industry, right? So that's another really cool thing.
Anybody in particular, or any?
There's so many products in there, John.
Featured by who? Like they're brand new products coming out to market,
that's
or
right.
Something that's sold well, or
a little of both, but a lot of it is very brand new products to the market, stuff that's being introduced at the PRI Show for the first time, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Big companies and small companies doing this, right?
Sure. Everybody's from Bob's Headers,
We love Bob.
Yeah, all the way up to,
GM.
some OEMs and those. So, yep.
That's great. I mean, and now even the more unique thing is the propulsion. Alternative propulsion is going to be there. Now, if you like your seaweed grass to propel your Honda, hang on for this announcement.
Yeah, so we're excited we had what was called Future Tech at the SEMA show, which focused on electric drivetrains and alternative forms of propulsion. So we had hydrogen-powered vehicles, we had hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, we had BEV vehicles, we had green fuel vehicles like E85 and some of the low carbon fuels that you've seen in IndyCar come out and things like that. We're going to also have that focus at the PRI show to say, okay, so electric drag racing, is one of those things that seems to be up and coming. So we'll have electric vehicle and package manufacturers there. We'll have, again, the green fuels there. We'll have the alternative forms of propulsions that are coming into racing. So we'll actually have a booth there as well. And my good colleague Luis, our director of vehicle technology, will be there. He's in charge of that portion of the show. But we'll go visit him and check out what he's got there. He's got a lot of cool stuff planned for sure.
Are they going to be where the electric cars used to be and that like little room by itself, or big room by itself?
No, it's actually taking over a much bigger portion of the show.
Really?
So yeah, they've relocated it, and it's going to be much more prominently displayed there this year for sure.
Oh, really? So we don't have to go, where the hell are we? Where the hell are we? Here, there it is.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of how that whole convention center is.
It should take it from a 2 hot dog trip into a 1 hot dog trip.
Yeah, it's only because if you have never been to the Indy Convention Center, it's either at the Peninsula, what the hell is that? Or, because you're always looking up at the sign, where are we? And we're leaving breadcrumbs as we go because we can't remember where we just were because there's so much going on. And I mean, you've never been to a circus at Carnival, Cedar Point, Disneyland, nothing that has so much kinetic energy going on about anything. There's cars. There's something fascinating, even if you weren't even thrilled about valve stems. Somehow, some way, Bob, who's now doing valve stems, has this wonderful little, our hearts go out for the one-off guys, for the mom and pop kind of places. We love GM and all that stuff, but the mom and pop kind of setups, and sometimes they don't have the $1 million booths. But they got an idea that you go, that's damn brilliant, that's smart.
Yeah, and that's what PRI and SEMA are here to do, right, is turn those mom and pop shops off and help them grow. The fees are structured so that it's not crippling to be a SEMA or PRI member, right, at a low cost. In fact, our membership start at a few $100s a year, right, for those members. And really the idea is that we help them grow. We provide them resources in SEMA and PRI. We provide, such as the SEMA Garage, right? That's part of the membership package. And the idea is really to help them grow their business.
Right.
Grow if they need help with emissions compliance, if they need help with product development, if they need help with scanning, if they need help with engine dyno tuning, if they need help with all these different things that maybe do require expensive equipment to get where you need to go. We have that, and we're able to provide it to those members and help. Again, that's the SEMA edict, right, is to help our members succeed and prosper. And that's really what we aim to do.
Yeah, because the folks will always ask, well, what's the catch?
Yeah. Yep. And in this case, John, you're always looking for the hook, you're always looking for the catch. And we try to make it as catch-free as possible.
Range-free. Okay, here's and what Ben is too nice. What happens is if Bob makes headers, then Bob makes performance parts, right? The more performance parts that are out there, what does SEMA break down those 4 letters? The more parts, the more hot rod parts, the more off-road parts, the more on-road parts, the better off everybody is.
Yep. Yeah, so Specialty Equipment Market Association, right? Yeah. So we're talking about performance parts. We're talking about aftermarket parts, right? And, we do that in a number of ways. We do that in Washington, D.C., we help understand the legislation that's coming out. We help guide and shape laws that are coming out to make sure that our industry can stay strong for the long term, right? So that's one way we do that. We do that through the SEMA Garage by helping people develop products for the industry, right? Helping them with the challenges of product development and compliance and the things that we've already talked about today, right?
Yeah.
We do that by our SEMA data colleagues who help understand all the breakdowns of the different trim levels and things, so that when Bob makes his header, what applications and trim lines does it actually fit on? So he can actually go out and get that data from SEMA Data, who stores that, and then he makes sure that his website is accurate. So if they pick the trim line for their vehicle, it says you need Bob's header part A versus Bob's header part B. So that helps with that with data. And I could go on and on about the different services that SEMA offers, right? And then on the PRI side, there's just as many, if not more. So PRI is the performance racing industry, right? So, and there are all sorts of different things that we can help with there, from discounts on products for people who are members to business coaching to the show itself, which both on the SEMA and PRI side puts 2,200 exhibitors in Las Vegas with 150,000 people walking by their booth, opportunities for sale. Same thing at PRI, right? We're talking about 1,000 exhibitors, right? With all sorts of people walking by the booth, again, to look at your products. You can put your product in the new product showcase and get it in front of people. So all these opportunities for people to really grow their business are available. So.
It's an amazing show. I mean, really, it's kind of like if you're like a boomer. My parents used to say it was like getting the Sears Christmas catalog. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, it's here! And you start flipping through the pages. It's like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, and that's almost what PRI is.
Yeah.
As soon as you walk in, and especially when you have the Bob's Headers side, and when we say it's Bob's Headers stuff, there's glamour too at this place.
Yeah, there's a lot of cachet that goes with it for sure. I mean, you get the big boys in there, right? The very well-heeled companies like the Edelbrocks and the Holleys and all of those, and the General Motors and the Fords and many of the OEMs that are attending the show. And then but Bob's Headers is in there, right? One of the fun spots that I like to hang out is Machinery Row.
Yeah, right.
Just
on the side.
To watch them. I could watch them whittle billet all day, all day.
Yeah, because there'll be some guy making a camshaft.
Yep.
And that's his gig all day long, and then people just like stand and watch. However, it's fun because it's kind of like, how do you get to the glitz and glamour? Well, it's these guys. These guys are the ones that are making the camshafts, the valves, the headers, so you can put it all together and have this crazy car that you love. And it's just so many. And a lot of, you're right, a lot of the, even the mom and pops will hold back that new technology. And here's our showcase. Here's kind of world premiere, folks. And they can't wait to show it to you. Now, here's the story. This is not open to the public.
Yeah, the PRI show, is a B2B show, right? Like the SEMA show is a B2B show. Now, as you mentioned, on Friday, we do have some consumer interaction, right, on Friday, and then they can at the SEMA show. But PRI is a business-to-business show, and I say B2B, business-to-business show. So, but it's the place to be. It's really exciting.
But fear not, and here's the reason why we bring that up. That CKiW iRADIO 76 will be broadcasting live there from Friday and Saturday, and we will have the Manager General Ben Kaminsky. We will be on the floor. And we're going to be talking to people live. So if you can't make it, if you're there selling your jammies somewhere and it's nice and warm wherever you're at, and we're freezing our buns driving to Indianapolis, going to Love's at 5:40 in the morning driving, are we awake? We are going to be bringing everything live to you, so at least you get a taste of what is going on. And then afterward, we're going to have a lot of footage, and we'll be putting it right here on CKiW iRADIO 76 on our brand new YouTube YouTube channel, which is in progress now. So if you haven't seen some of the stuff that we've done here at SEMA Garage Detroit, it's there. It's hotline at CKiW. That's all you have to do is put that up on YouTube, or you can just put CKiW, and that's the new one, so you can see a lot of Ben. You know, if ladies in Laos and in Bulgaria, you know, here he is, honeys. But anyways, we'll show you what we're talking about. It's an abstract when Ben and I are talking here around the table, but when you actually see this thing in action, it's like your head's on a swivel. There to there to there to there. And we're going to be bringing to you some really interesting people. You know.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and I'm geeked now. I feel like driving now. Get the Buick ready, honey. We're going.
That's right.
You know,
let's fire it up and go.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be coming up again. That's the first weekend of December. You know, so stay tuned to CKiW iRADIO 76. We will be bringing it to you live. The only folks that are doing this and not charging you. Anyways, what else did we have that we should probably be wrapping up? What else we got laying around on the paper?
Yeah, I think we've touched on a lot of it, but you know, simulation and testing and technologies is one of the other fun things that are happening. You know,
the simulations.
Yeah, it's really interesting technology, and especially for the folks in the racing industry, to make iterations outside of actually cutting chips, right? Where you can get closer to the answer that you want and not have to cut chips every time to get there, right? So the simulation portion of that really helps make those iterations faster so that you're not boring the block and then putting it together and then testing it on the dyno. You're doing these simulations to figure out what the best combination of those things is, and then you're testing it for really validation purposes. So I always think that's a really cool thing as an engineer by trade, that, you know, I kind of geek out and get all nerdy on that sort of stuff. So.
Cool. I mean, that's because we're going to be looking at that. There's 3 different areas. There's the Peninsula, A, B, and then Lucas, right?
Yeah. I have to say, I've been there 15 years now, and I still can't figure out the layout.
Neither can we. We only know where the Coke machines are.
That's right.
You know, and then where the media center is. No, but get there early if you're going to be there, because after 8 o'clock, those media scribes take all the buns, all of the donuts are all gone. You know, much to Sue's chagrin, and it was like, you know, help a woman out, 110 pounds. Anyways, but that's what we have going on. We're excited. I mean, absolutely, positively, and that just kicks off again with CKiW iRADIO 76 and the SEMA Garage Detroit. You're going to be seeing a whole lot more of us in 2024 with these fine folks, because we sincerely do believe that this is a place that needs to be shown. You know, it only benefits you, you know, and wait till you see what they got in store. Humongous. Wait for us. Anyways, we will see everybody December.
That's right.
And then we'll be broadcasting again live from there. We'll have the Manager General
Thank you.
update. You know, of all the days, even if on Saturday when you're at home, you know, call us, Zoom meeting, you know, let us know what's going on while you're at your nice fluffy shirt, you know, hanging out in a nice warm place. Anyways, it's a beautiful place if you haven't been to Indy. Confusing to drive through, but if you've been, you know, drove through Hamtramck, you make Indy easy, you know. Anyways, and then again, we'll be having a recap from PRI.
I look forward to it.
We got it all done?
I think we're good.
Hot diggity. All right. So now, stay tuned to PRI. And again, stay tuned here, because we're going to have a whole lot more, and we'll give you week to week as things come up. So thank you for being with the only station that gives a damn about the greatest sport on earth, and that's drag racing, and fine things like PRI. Welcome to CKiW Radio 76.